Hello, this is Kendall, and you are listening to We're Booked Up, a segment of the Gaston Speaks podcast wherein Andrew, Angelique, and I discuss books. For this episode, we are discussing The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. There will be spoilers, so please come back after you've read the book if you want to avoid those. But first, what have we been reading or watching?
Good job, Kendall. Yay.
Yay. A little switch up.
We're keeping everybody on their toes.
Who wants to go first?
I finally finished all my film independent ones. That was fun. Went on a nice, really loved Nora, which is one of the front runners for Best Picture, the Sean Baker movie with Mikey Madison and no one else you guys would know. So it was really good. It's kind of like a modern day dark comedy version of Pretty Woman.
Ooh.
So, but very dark and very like Gen Z or even late millennial kind of vibe. And then I was trying to think what else I've been watching. Oh, I finally finished. I realized I'd not finished the second half of the last season of Only Murders in the Building. So then I started back over and like been binge watching. It's so good. And then I've been reading. So I read this, and then I've been reading something called The Wedding People, Alison Espach. I don't know. Anyway, it's supposed to be laugh out loud funny. I think I can see where it's getting there, but it's a little dark at the beginning. So I hope it gets funnier, but it's very well written. I can see why people liked it. So, what about you guys?
I'm trying to remember when I last finished this. Okay, so I finished Assistant to the Villain, and then I read Apprentice to the Villain. Did I tell you guys that?
Mm-hmm.
And then now I am starting 2 new books. We'll see which one sticks. One is the How to Be Eaten by Maria Edelman that I talked about like 2 seasons ago that I'm finally actually reading. I like it so far.
Oh, good.
And then my book that I'm reading in the pickup line for school is The Ministry of Time. It's new by Carly Ann something or other. I can't remember.
Was it one of the Goodreads ones?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was.
Okay.
The idea is that there's this ministry, because this is a British book.
Mm-hmm.
So this government entity that goes back in time and gets people who are going to basically die anyway and removes them from their timeline, brings them to the present to study. And there's supposed to be like some big other super big reason why that happens. But I'm still in the beginning of the book. I like it so far too. And then what did I watch? We watched the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was not. It was fine. I normally like Tom Cruise movies. I think he jumped the shark
They've
as an actor.
they're all still well made. The Mission Impossible, like there's some cool elements, but they've run out of storyline, and they're doing another one.
They are. Well, it's the second part.
I know.
The story is so big; it needed 2 parts.
Damn.
Anyway, but the movie I want to talk about, Wild Robot. We watched it with my
love that
children.
movie.
It was so deeply moving for me. It was a beautiful 5-star movie. I will say, though, it does not shy away from death, found family, elements, saying goodbye, all of those things that
Every year there's either an animated performance or a like motion capture performance where I'm like, we need to have awards recognizing these individuals because you're not even seeing their face and they're so good. I think of like Robin Williams in Aladdin or Eddie Murphy in Shrek or Phyllis Smith in Inside Out. And to me, it was Lupita Nyong'o this year as Wild Robot. She was just so, I mean, she's amazing. She's an Oscar-winning actress, but what she was able to convey with just her voice is just another example of that kind of acting does not get enough credit. She was amazing. The film's fantastic.
The entire cast was amazing. And it's
yes,
star-studded.
yeah.
It is amazing. My boys were just so moved by this whole movie. And it was...
I want to read the book. I know it's a children's book, but it's a J. Fic, right? It's like a thicker... Yeah, I want to read it just to see. I mean...
They're reading it in my second graders class.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what about you, Angelique?
I saw Con Air.
Hey!
It's one of my mom's favorite movies, and she came over a couple weeks ago, and we couldn't find anything to watch, and I was finally like, do you just want to watch Con Air?
What is the thing that there's like the thing Marcus always says, and it's a quote from Con Air. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
No, you don't either. Okay, never
Well,
mind. Had you seen Con Air before?
Yeah, I've seen, like I said, it's one of my mom's favorite movies.
Anaconda or whatever. When Con Air, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Good old Nick Cage.
Yep.
He's a Coppola.
I started a new
It's a
show.
Coppola.
I started a new show called High Potential.
Oh, yes.
See,
I
That's
watched
a good
that
show.
too.
I love her.
Yeah, she's good.
Caitlin
Yeah.
Olsen.
Yeah, she has a really great recurring kind of guest role on Hacks, which is a show Emily and I particularly just love that show. And so if you like her and It's Always Sunny, I liked her in High Potential. I'm glad she kind of finally got and it got renewed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but she's really good in Hacks too. She's good.
Yeah. She had this one show. I think it was called
Mick?
Yeah, the Mick.
I
was
liked
really
that
funny.
one. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was kind of it was harsh, and like I mean that in a funny way. Like it was very like. I think it only had like 1 or 2 seasons, but it was good.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see her be very successful.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that, but I like that show. Did you like that show?
The Mick, I've never watched
No,
the
the
Mick.
High Potential.
The first episode. The first
Episode?
episode I thought was funny. I thought it was okay. I don't know, something about it was just like, but I love
Do
her.
you like procedurals?
I do. I'm okay with procedure. I like them. I prefer them too when they're like
Mm-hmm.
high potential.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all seen Matlock?
I
The,
haven't
The new
watched
Kathy
the Kathy
Bates?
Bates one.
So it's
I've
also
seen bits of it.
procedural, but and I don't know if it's just because she's in it, but there's several actors that I think do really well. It is definitely going to be procedural. It's Matlock, but they have a really cool kind of underlying story behind all of it that I think makes it. Like, remember the Good Wife and the Good Fight?
Mhm.
They were procedural, but they had. There was so much. The procedural was just a part of the story. It wasn't the story.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it, and I don't know if it's like I said, if it's just because I love Kathy Bates and she's fantastic.
No, it's
Sky something is the other actress I really like in there. But if y'all should check it out. It's definitely gonna be. It's not gonna be like another NCIS or CSI. It's definitely gonna be like a higher brow
Mhm.
procedural, kind of like High Potential is. Sorry,
Cool.
suggesting that. It's good.
Cool,
No,
cool.
it's good. It's a solid
Yeah.
suggestion.
So High Potential, Con Air. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. You know what I'm doing right now? So my brother and I restarted an anime called Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
And after every couple episodes we watch, I'll go onto YouTube and I'll watch the reaction videos to those episodes.
You're so cute.
You guys, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's fun. I like it. Because
And
we,
it's a little less disturbing than the car crash videos, you know.
yeah. Well, you haven't seen Demon Slayer, so
Oh, okay.
there you go.
Okay.
Don't let Wyatt watch that until he's a little bit older if he ever
Okay.
hears about it, because it's kind of gory,
Okay.
like people getting eaten gory.
Oh no.
It's not as bad as some, but yeah, it might be a little bit too much for him. at
Luckily,
8
he
or
still
9.
has another 600 episodes of One Piece.
He's going through them fast.
He's
though.
going. I mean, I'm not.
Is he watching like there's like a version called One Pace that kind of gets you through it quicker, like kind of skips filler.
First of all, that's very clever. And no, he's watching actual One Piece.
Okay.
Okay, I felt a little judged in that look.
No, I'm just wondering where he watches it.
You're a
Yeah,
good
so-
Bob Kendall.
He watched. So Marcus wakes up. Marcus wakes up at like 5:30 in the
Yeah.
morning, and Levi and Wyatt doesn't actually leave for school until like 7:15. So he
Mm.
gets up and watches, I don't know, an hour of TV before he goes to school. Which, before you judge me, it allows him to wake up enough. He's willing to eat breakfast. He brushes his teeth, and he gets in the car with no complaint.
Mm.
And I didn't have to use force like I did in the past.
Yes, success.
Win.
I don't judge it. I used to watch stuff before. No, I didn't. I was asleep till the last second.
I was
I
gonna say
think.
when Angelique did make it.
No,
to
you know what
school.
I did? You know what I did? There was a show that would come on at like 1 a.m. Monday, like Sunday night, Monday morning, and I would wake up at 1 a.m. to watch it, like even if it was a school night.
No wonder you
Basically.
never made it to school.
Oh,
What were you watching, Dr. Ruth?
No, it was
Oh.
a show
Oh,
on.
wow.
It was like a Canadian television show. It was called Once a Thief.
Oh,
Yeah, it's based on a John Woo movie.
that's
Okay.
fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
John Woo. Wow.
Yeah.
I think it was a John Woo movie. It was like 20 years ago, so I don't remember.
I mean,
Okay, are we ready?
Let's do it.
I'm going to read the synopsis. All right. Every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom. I collect their daughter from school, and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes, so full of pain, it's hard not to imagine what it would be like to live Nina's life. The walk-in closet, the fancy car, the perfect husband. I only try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses once, just to see what it's like. but she soon finds out, and by the time I realize my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself, the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. Okay. Do we think that the synopsis represented the book very well?
No, because she finds out it locks from the outside from like the
Yeah.
first chapter.
It's like, that's kind of like...
So they make that seem like that's like a plot twist halfway through. Like that's like chapter 2. They figure that out. But otherwise, I guess it's
Well, I don't know, because it makes it sound like she was sneaking into Nina Winchester's closet to try on that white dress.
Yeah.
When that is not what happened. So I'm going to say we probably
It kind
judged
of
the...
misrepresented it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the what is it called on the back of the book? The summary writer?
Blurb.
The blurb.
Mm.
It wasn't the most accurate blurb, but
No.
for what the purpose of the book is and the purpose of like to draw the reader in, it did its job.
Well, like when she says I try on the white dress and then Nina finds out, you can't say
That she was just like in front of a mirror looking at herself in a dress when she like
right.
went
But
out
you can't
to...
be like, oh no, I like basically we have an affair with your husband because then
While I'm wearing your white dress.
that kind of gives away, So
Yeah.
I guess what they were doing, kind of teasing it, but yeah, that didn't quite. But the end of when I finally figure out that the door opens, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that was like page 4. You
Mhm.
figured that out, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
So not the best blurb.
Not the best blurb.
No. How about ratings? We'll start with Andrew.
It did move fast.
Mm-hmm.
There were some twists I guess I didn't see coming. 1.5 stars.
Okay.
4 stars.
4 stars. Probably like 2.75, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.25. I didn't hate it.
So, I mean, even in the car, I was like 3.75 stars. But the more I think about it, especially in comparison to the other thrillers that we have
Mhm.
read or psychological suspense, this is pretty good.
Okay,
This
so-
really
I liked
hits
it more than the
the
others. I've
nail
read.
on the head.
Compared to the other ones, it is more like a 2.53. Like, I mean, to be
Mhm.
fair, it still was not.
It's not your kind of
No,
book.
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Compared to some, like compared to what was the I can't remember.
Guest list? I liked
Yeah.
it better than the guest
I
list.
liked
Definitely
it
liked
better than the guest list.
What was the one we just read
I'm
with
talking about Silent City
How
and
Can I Help You?
Murder Road.
Murder Road? That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
This one was definitely better
This
than that.
season. I love that the How Can I Help You call back.
Is that what it was called? That's what
Yeah.
the library. Yeah. Okay. I did like it more than Murder Road too.
So compared to some of the other ones we read this season, it's definitely higher on the list. Okay, fine, 2 stars. I'll give it 2 stars.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
don't
Look at me.
have to.
No, I didn't. I sat there and I read it and I went through it and I didn't. It wasn't like
You're basing it on itself when you rate it 1.5, but in comparison to the other ones we've read,
2.53.
I can
some of
understand
I
that,
think
yeah.
that
I can
is
respect
fair. I think that is completely
I
fair.
can understand why this one's probably more popular than some of those other
Yeah.
ones too.
Mhm.
Why,
Yeah,
why
same.
it was more successful and has now several sequels. Correct? At least 1
Yeah,
or 2.
I'm not
Yeah.
reading the sequels.
No, absolutely not.
especially since I read the synopsis for 'em, it didn't sound good. I read reviews. I'm
Well, I
like,
just
no.
read that last chapter and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll get there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get there. All right. First question. What did you think of Millie and Nina? Did you have a preference between the two,
Ooh.
and did you have another favorite character?
Okay. So my other favorite character was probably, I don't know. This book, you're not supposed to like any of the characters.
I think you are supposed to like at least one.
Really? You think?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to like Enzo, honestly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I do like
Enzo.
Enzo.
Yeah. I like Enzo.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Pretending not to know English. That's.
That is a genius move.
Oh, I kind of liked her catty friends.
You did? I
They
kind
were awful, but it
Yeah,
was
they're
kind of
terrible
funny.
I don't know. I was also partial to the little demon child.
yeah.
Because we like a good demon kid.
Yeah.
But okay, so I liked the main characters fine, I
Mhm.
suppose. I understood them. I think that they were, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Underdeveloped.
Maybe because there was so much, because the author was holding back certain pieces of information to amp up the wow factor.
Mhm.
It was kind of hard. Like, of course, in the beginning, you don't like Nina, or I didn't like Nina.
Yeah.
You're not supposed
Yeah.
to. You're supposed to identify with Millie, but then it doesn't matter. After 3 months, Millie still sleeps with this woman's husband.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, Millie was not. She. Yeah, go ahead.
And then for me, I was not, so something I did like, I did not know that we were going to switch character
Mhm.
perspectives.
Mhm.
And I appreciated that. And then I actually did like Nina a lot more.
Yeah. Me too.
So I prefer Nina to
Mhm.
Millie.
I prefer Nina too because I never particularly liked Millie.
Mm-hmm.
I said so she keeps making bad decisions, and Angelique's like, well, she did go to jail, and then it turns out that the reason was not,
Yeah.
but still, she still keeps making bad decisions. But Nina had the redemptive arc. I will say she did effectively make me like Andrew before she turned him
Yes.
bad.
Correct.
Yes.
She did a great job with that.
Mhm.
Sorry, what I realized when about Millie, there's this piece of she keeps messing up that Enzo does not speak Spanish
Mhm.
and keeps speaking Spanish to him, and it drives me
Yeah.
crazy. I'm like, he's Italian. It's very clear that it's Italian. He's clear that it's Italian, and she still comes like, gracias. Help me bring
That
in
was
these
funnier
groceries,
than anything in the
mucho.
book.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't dislike Millie. I like that she would the kind of girl that would stick up for herself. Like,
Yeah.
she punched the guy in the face at the bar.
Yeah. She stuck up for a friend in high school.
But so
Yes.
Yeah.
she did have a I mean, you do find out that she's been through a lot, but she did something that ended up being a good thing. Well, death's never
Her
a good
positives
thing,
are homicidal.
Yes.
but yes, but when you're taking out bad, maybe it's like the moral. Like, but if
Yeah.
you're taking out bad people,
Doesn't bother me in fiction, honestly. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me in fiction. In real life, yes, but
Yeah,
in
yeah.
fiction, no.
Yeah.
Because I think we're supposed to. We're supposed to be liking that. Like, however, it is twisted that she knew that she was never going to open that door, and she still had that guy pull out like 4 of his own teeth.
Yeah.
That is a darkness in that person that I couldn't. Ugh.
Yeah. That was a little messed
and
up.
when you do cross that line, it's like, well, how can you claim that you're better than someone else when you do stuff that's as
She was the Punisher. She was the tiny little
yeah.
Punisher.
Obviously, it's not the same. I do understand that, but there is that kind of moral line of you want me to continue to like her and think she's a good guy, then anyway.
You look like you were going to say something.
What was I gonna say?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I do think it was too far for the like teeth pulling thing. I think she could have just left him there and been fine.
And it feels like the only reason that happened was so that the mother had that
Yeah,
line
that
at
was-
the end, and I don't necessarily think you needed
Yeah.
I think it
any
was
of
quite
that.
obvious that
Yeah,
the
you didn't need
mom
the
was...
abusers become abusers thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be in the story. Also, after that, I'm like, what did she do to Cecilia when she was with Cecilia?
I know.
Yeah, and then Nina never even thought of that.
I know. There's a couple of things about Nina, like the peanut butter. Okay, so she knows that her daughter's allergic to peanut butter, but then she doesn't tell Millie that her daughter's allergic to peanut butter. Now, she does explain why the peanut butter is still there because, what's his face? Andrew. Andrew is using it as a
Threat.
Yes,
Yeah,
a threat against. She even said that sometimes he slips peanut butter into Cecilia's food. So she can't remove the peanut butter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sorry, my kid has a peanut allergy. I don't care who's coming in. I'm telling you, they have a peanut allergy. I also have peanut butter in my pantry. Like, it is not, I don't know. I feel like that was playing it too fast and loose with Celia's well-being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you could have done that without necessarily Andrew knowing.
Yeah, you could have emptied out the peanut butter and then put in something else that looked like peanut butter.
Like sun butter?
No, I
Yeah.
meant like telling Millie that she's
Yeah, yeah.
allergic to peanut butter. I don't know how. I mean, it still might have come up, but
I wish what the author had done would say, like, Nina wrote a note saying something to the effect of, here are food stuff, like, for whatever, like preferences and, and allergies and stuff. And then maybe Andrew throws out the note, but then we blame Nina. And because we're still in that Nina is psycho phase, but she never did that.
yeah.
So that there's a couple things where Nina, it's like, gotta look out a little bit. But I guess she became, I don't know.
She became so
Yeah.
paranoid maybe that she. Yeah.
Yeah. There was too much awful about Nina at the beginning sometimes. Like, it started, like, really quick.
Mhm.
There was very little build-up to it, so there was too much tension at times at the beginning of the book.
I agree. So one of
So-
the things Millie says is that she was like, sometimes Nina's great, but I'm like, there's not enough good instances. And again, it's one of those times where the author was holding back on character development because she wants the impact for the twist.
Mm-hmm.
I wish she hadn't. I wish she had shown some of the more softer
Made it
sides of
seem
Nina.
more like it was actually just
Because it was a
mental illness.
direct flip.
Yeah.
Andrew was good, Nina was bad, then Andrew's
Mhm.
bad, and Nina's good, and there was
Mhm.
no in between. And
Mm-hmm.
we like characters that are more complex, except for Millie being sadistically weird, at least sadistic at the like. I mean,
Yeah.
but there wasn't any complexity. It was just good, bad, then bad, good.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What did you think of the plot twist? Did you see it coming? Did it make sense to you?
Okay, let's be clear about which plot twists we're coming with. That Andrew was the bad guy?
Yeah.
I've kind of figured Andrew was the bad guy around the time, it was around page 100 when Nina was like eating eggs in the morning and there's like, oh, will you schedule the tickets to go to the show in New York or whatever. Something about that scene, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, maybe Nina is trying to be horrible to Millie so Millie will leave. Like maybe it's Nina trying to protect Millie, like I'm going to be terrible to you. So I did not actually anticipate the flip where the reason that Andrew is the bad guy is because he's quietly the bad guy.
Mm.
Even though they are like clues about like the room and the
Mhm.
claw, the fingernail marks on the door and stuff like that.
But you assume that something that Nina did, not
Yeah.
Andrew.
yeah, like maybe she was locking Cecilia up there.
Right.
Yeah.
When I just assumed there was another maid. And then the maid
Oh.
disappeared. And that's why Enzo was like, be careful because you're not the first maid that's disappeared.
Yeah.
Because Nina's so psycho that she, something happens and so she keeps replacing maids because she keeps killing them or something. I didn't know, but I just assumed it was another maid.
So the book picked up for me when it was Nina.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's when I didn't want to put it down, and I ended up reading the second half all in one sitting.
Mm.
So I will say I liked the twist. I didn't necessarily see it coming, but I did see that Nina maybe was playing a longer game than
Yeah.
they had let on. How about you? Did you see it coming?
No, but I wasn't really surprised by it either. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Yeah.
'Cause I was like, yeah, okay, that would happen.
You knew something was coming.
Yeah.
You didn't know what it was. And so when it did finally revealed, we're like, okay, that's where she went with it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I guess because we knew it was a thriller, we knew that
Mm-hmm.
something had to flip at some point.
Yeah.
I have read some where the flip was either so predictable that it was awful or it was so outlandishly ridiculous that I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, really? That's what you're going to do? So
Mhm.
I will say with this one, it didn't feel one way or the other. It wasn't so predictable that it was boring, and it wasn't necessarily that outlandish that it was. I mean, it was outlandish because it was supposed to be, but I was talking to someone. There's one called The Last Thing He Ever Told Me, and it turns out there's this whole mob connection thing, and the whole way that it plays out was so ridiculous that I completely got taken out of it. So that one, it did not happen that way.
I feel like she did a good job of walking the line
Yeah.
between like this is what the twist is, but it's not going to be so shocking that you're like. It wasn't as shocking as the Gone Girl twist was for me,
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
but it was in the league.
correct.
Yeah.
I liked Gone Girl better.
I like Gone Girl
Yeah.
better too.
I've
Book
only seen
and
the
movie.
I've only seen the movie.
Well, the
David
movie's
Fincher
good.
did a really good job of
Yeah.
fleshing that out. I felt
Did you
like.
read it?
Yes.
I liked them both.
I like them both. Yeah, I'm saying but they also had some difference. Anyway,
Mhm. Yeah, I
but yeah,
concur.
that one was to me more fleshed out. It wasn't so just plot based, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, Gone Girl was also longer. This is made to be a quick page
Yeah,
turner.
True.
Yeah. all
Gone
the
Girl
chapters are
is
short.
Meant to
wants
be
you
more-
sit with it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Nina's methods of getting out of her marriage?
It is a little tough to put another woman. I mean, I get that, but I also think that she's that desperate and
Yes.
doesn't know what to do.
I feel like you're putting up girl code against a mom protecting her child.
Yeah.
I think that if Nina didn't have a child, that there
She would
needs
have
to
just might have just left.
yeah, there needs to be another way. But the fact that she did say like you don't know when when Andrew's gonna start punishing Cecilia.
Yeah.
And as a parent, like the fact that Cecilia was already having to wear those itchy, horrible dresses that kids made fun of her in school for. She was occasionally getting slipped peanut butter, which could kill her.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, there's you don't know what was happening with
Yeah.
Mummy Dearest.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that the two odds are like sisterhood versus motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
And
like
what
that.
if Millie wasn't successful?
That
Yeah.
is a point.
and
Yeah.
Millie ends up dead, or Millie ends up and there's some sort of sister wife, and they're both in the same. Like something
Mhm.
about that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, she took a big chance.
She took a
I
big
understand it
chance.
though. She
Yeah.
really loved her daughter.
I would do it for my
And
kids.
he had put Cecilia at risk before by almost
Mhm.
drowning her.
But it is a little outlandish to be like, I think that this person, because she killed someone in the past, may have the capability. Like,
Yeah.
the
but there
long
was
game is like,
She had a pattern,
Yeah,
though,
she had a
because
pattern
the
of
guy
it.
that she punched.
true.
So I also think I would have probably clued in, or somehow, I don't know how the author would have done it, but I think Nina should have somehow been in more communication with Millie. And I mean, Enzo did point that out to her, and
Yeah.
she did eventually return, and she did say, you know what? I might end up going back to the psych ward, but this is...
Yeah.
Again,
This is-
they do really redeem Nina enough that you
Mhm.
kind of overlook it by the time you get to the end of it. And then Millie does kind of.
It's just very human the way that she did it, honestly.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, she's not like perfect at it,
Mm-mm.
but she was desperate and she wanted to get herself and her daughter out. She wanted to get away from this crazy man,
Yeah.
violent man. That was hurting
And
her.
that's how
But-
they were able to do the complete flip of
Yeah.
good,
Mhm.
bad, bad, good, is because
Yeah.
you're able to overlook that enough because you understand where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So, the part of the book I think towards the end that I wish they had put more seeds in was the fact that the ex-fiance's father was going to be the
Yes.
cop.
Yeah.
That I feel like I wish they had addressed a little bit. She had addressed a little bit more.
Maybe
throughout.
even Andrew mentioning that his ex-fiance's father was a police officer or something in some
Mhm.
way.
To Millie, even in
Yeah,
conversation of blah, 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 somehow.
Or even in the past when she's going to people and saying this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like maybe he can't prove or do anything about it at the time, but like maybe one of the people she's confiding in is this police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels a little weird that he would be suddenly moving across the country to come investigate this guy after so many years. Because by that time she had been married.
Yeah.
That's
while.
where I struggle with some of these books, is because stuff like that happens a lot in
Yeah.
these books, just to have some connection, and it often
Yeah.
feels forced.
Yeah, it's a
And
little
this
too
one was very
convenient.
forced for
Bec-
me.
He took away the whole...
Tension of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just made it okay. He was what made it wrap up in a bow because he
Yeah.
took care of whatever letter that the supposedly upon Andrew's death was going to be sent to the police. He made sure to overlook the fact that, the guy had serious bruising and teeth pulled. I'm okay if he's going to fix it, but he needs to be set up a little earlier in the process.
Yeah.
But you know what? Remember how we talked about the You Should See Me in a Crown, how it almost would have been better had she not won, and then there was like an epilogue
Mm-hmm.
where she went back and got the scholarship?
Mm-hmm.
I almost wish that it hadn't wrapped up, and then there was an epilogue that's like several years later. I don't know, like something
Mm.
about it, because it wrapped up so quickly, that I rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if maybe if Nina had talked to Millie about stuff sooner and gotten on the same page
Mhm.
before Andrew was actually dead, or even after, if Millie could have, they could have explored finding Caroline, the previous girl, and maybe they were responsible for making things happen as opposed to just, oh, by the way, this random guy happens to be a cop and he knows about Andrew and his creepy, creepy ways.
Again, just like that, it would have been a little bit more effective had it not been wrapped up such in a bow, in
Yeah.
such a nice bow. It might have actually. I get that readers, that's not what they want,
Yeah.
but for the when your whole book's plot and you're supposed to be a fast read, give me just an ounce of a little bit more substance there. And anyway,
I agree. Next question. Do you have a favorite moment or quote? I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when Millie turned it around on Andrew, pepper sprayed him, and locked him in the room.
Yes.
So it's kind of what you've been waiting for that whole time after
it was
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
You felt it.
Yeah.
The first time she said, I'll let you out, just not yet.
Yeah.
That really was a nice moment.
He deserved it.
I like the moment where you open up on Nina and she's in a hotel room and she's enjoying the perks of his
Yeah.
money, and her child is safe for
Yeah.
the first time, and she sees an out and she's just like celebrating that.
Yeah, the switch of characters
I liked
was
it.
effective.
Mhm.
I am liking it more than I think, but there were some things that bothered me. So anyway, we'll
No,
get to
it's
that.
okay.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ending?
I was okay up until Millie's having an interview with that lady,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, Nina sent me. And I was like, come on. If they had just left that out, like, I would have been fine.
I'll get to that point when we get to another point. Same thing. I didn't like the wrap up in the bow. I didn't like the guy all of a sudden appearing and suddenly have that magical connection.
Yeah.
I hated the sequel setup.
Yeah.
Part of it is, and this is one of the things, every single chapter ended. Y'all remember like Desperate Housewives, and it was supposed to be campy and funny and darkly funny, and so they would end with like Mary Alice doing the voiceover of like, and Gabby thought she was good, or was she? But it was supposed to be campy and soap opera, and it kind of played into the dark comedy. Every single frickin' chapter ended that way,
Yeah.
and it wasn't campy. It was just dark, and so even that ending. Again, in like a desperate, like in a kind of, if you had camped it up and it had, you knew it was supposed to be kind of ridiculous and soap operatic, that might have worked. But it was just eye roll inducing. It's like, oh great, so basically we just have a sequel. I don't know, that bothered me.
I wish they had introduced the idea that Millie actually doesn't regret killing the guys. That maybe she gets like a little like
thrill.
Thank you. I was trying to make it not weird. A thrill from killing them, and which she would become the vigilante every woman who's in a domestic abuse situation needs.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
No.
She was just trying to stay out of prison, and so now we're going to set her up to go be in prison again.
Yeah.
Again, so you either have that or you do have like something that makes it was just a straight thriller.
And the thing is,
and
it's
it
not
ends
like
that way.
It's not like Millie's particularly good at it. She almost got caught.
She got caught. She got fired.
Yeah.
She did get abused before.
She was still
killed
in the
Andrew.
house when Nina came to check what was going on. Like,
I
girl,
would've been like, deuces.
leave.
I know.
Again, she doesn't make good decisions.
No.
And it's not like it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't make it a great character.
So because that cop appears at the end, it makes me so frustrated for Nina because she didn't need Millie at all. She could have just locked Andrew in there at any point and left and been like, he was on a business trip. What are you
this
talking
could have been
about?
over like years ago.
Yeah.
Because now it's not that she's crazy. Like, the whole reason
See,
goes up.
that would have been campy funny. Like, well, that was a waste of my time. Like something funny at the end. But it wasn't.
She's like talking to the cop. She has a thought like,
You
this
mother-
was so unnecessary.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I needed that, but it didn't have any of that, and it was just overly serious. And anyway.
Okay, another thing I didn't like about the ending was the hint of like Millie and Enzo having a relationship.
Yeah, what was
Like,
with that? I thought Enzo was
unnecessary.
into Nina.
Yeah.
He had relations with Nina. Like,
And I'm sorry, before Millie knew, she was totally into Andrew. And then all of a sudden, she's like, well, now that Andrew's dead, maybe he was
killed him.
cute before, so maybe now he's cute again. Like, what?
I might need to haul a dead body again. Come on, friend.
Again, if a comment like that had been made, that would have worked because it would have been funny. But they didn't. It was not intended to be funny. And it's like, ugh. It made me not like Millie.
Yeah.
Like, even more not like Millie.
I mean,
yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Same. I wish that Enzo, if he wasn't going to be with Nina, then he just needed to not be with anyone.
Yeah.
I solved the problem. I got justice because I couldn't get the justice. Whatever. I solved it, and now I can live my life.
Yeah.
I do like that they set him up to be a gardener that was just constantly in their yard.
How is that not suspicious? How often do you need to garden?
I bet that entire street was like, have you seen Enzo? He's back over at Nina's, trimming those hedges.
Again, adding those like little like catty comments in along the way would have added something to the.
If they make this into a movie, I really hope that they make the outside world a character.
Yes.
Like all of the friends. Did you see?
We'll get to
Like-
that.
Okay.
okay.
We'll get to that. Okay. Second to last question. When do you think Millie should have quit?
Oh my gosh.
So soon. Like, I'm sorry. Even just a
So-
little bit of
so-
that starter money, you would have been fine.
I think the setup of Millie having been in prison and being out on parole was a good reason for her not to quit for so long,
Yes.
honestly, because she has nowhere to go. She was homeless when the book started.
Mm-hmm.
She was just been fired, and her parole officer didn't even know why she'd been fired, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand why she stayed, but when would you have left?
Okay, so I mean, man, I probably would have quit sooner than she did but if I'm in her situation and in
Mhm.
her shoes,
Mhm.
I would have, if not quit after my first paycheck was deposited, I would have been looking for another job actively.
Yeah.
Because all she had to do was clean the house. Granted, it was crazy and messy or whatever, but she was allowed to go shopping.
Yeah, she's allowed to leave the house.
You can't put in applications at those grocery stores that you're being sent to. You got
It's
sent to like
almost
5.
like she wanted to stay because she wanted to see if something happened with Andrew.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And then that, again, makes me not like her.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so are you staying for the money or are you staying because you think that
If-
you're going to get something out of this?
if the money's that good, then she can like
she
bank
should,
it.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is that there are so many great programs for recent people who are out of jail to help them find jobs and work with their parole officers. Like,
and her parole officer seemed cool. She could've
like if
talked
she
to
had
her.
said,
know.
this didn't work out. Can you help me? Can you help me find something? I mean, I
Yeah.
that was just one of those that knowing the world, knowing the social services that are available, that one kind of didn't work for me either.
Yeah.
But it did make me think, and then that it was all about, I think she genuinely, and we don't know this, but it felt like she genuinely thought, well, if Nina's making him so miserable and I think he's gorgeous, if I stay around long enough, I mean, yeah, it's for the money, but then I can also get me some. Like,
Ew, how many times did she say I could have your baby? Like to herself, to him. Like it was just
Yeah.
gross. You've known him for 3 months.
I think it's just an indication of her instability, honestly.
like she's just super impulsive.
Yeah, she's naive. She's been in prison since she was like 17.
Yeah, so she's
So-
yeah.
but you've been in prison since 17. You thought you'd learn some things.
Mm.
I mean, not about men.
No.
True. True. Touche.
I honestly don't know because I don't remember all the details of the book, but I hope I would have at least quit by the time they were telling me I couldn't come downstairs after hours.
Okay, that one killed me. The fact that she couldn't watch TV.
Yeah.
So like I understand if they don't necessarily want her to eat with them,
Yeah.
but I'd be like, you've asked me to live in your home. I have 1 tiny square foot to myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have been going out most nights. Like I would have been meeting people.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
other than locking myself in. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, she just isolated herself again.
I think when they didn't turn the doorknob around, I would have quit.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I thought that the door was sticking, my panic attacks when they wouldn't open the window. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. There are some. I would have.
Again, every chapter was foreshadow. Millie's just like, but it'll be fine. Like,
Yeah, you know what? Nina could have like adjusted the room so she could get out, but not let Andrew know. Like when Andrew's at work, she could have Enzo come in, and, like fix the door, fix the window,
Mm-hmm.
so she has an escape route, and just make it like not as obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
I agree.
Yeah.
Although I guess Andrew is
Yeah.
watching the whole time.
yeah, he did have a camera in there,
He
didn't
had,
he?
he might have had cameras all over.
Did that record all the time? I would have figured it would. So they should have found the recordings, shouldn't they? That could have been a way for her to get out of it
Yes.
instead of a magical
Finding a way.
policeman.
Yes.
See, now I'm even more annoyed by that
Like,
ending.
He seems like the kind of guy who would have kept the recordings.
I think he
Absolutely. You probably
would.
watched them for like
That's
his
how-
sadistic whatever. Yeah.
That's how all the psychopaths get caught.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, we just fixed like a lot of your problems, Frida.
That's what we usually do.
Part of me
We
really
do. We
I think it would have been wild to have Millie come across some of the the envelope of hair that was pulled
Yeah.
out, like the trophies. Like
Yeah.
I can see Andrew figuring out a way to display them
Yes.
around the house to be even more traumatic. Like
'Cause
that would
she's
be a
all up in
of
that house cleaning.
horrors.
She should have found something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fixed it.
Here we go.
Check. 4-star book now.
Hey ya. We're booked up doctors at your call.
I love
Okay.
it.
Okay. So, the book has already actually been cast for like either a movie or a miniseries.
really?
Really?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I'm curious.
So I'm
Let's
gonna
get-
ask a different question. Do you agree with the casting choice?
Ooh, I like
So
I
it
actually
has.
came up with casting.
I know.
But we'll go over yours too.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
why I'm
And I
asking
like
if you
some of
agree.
hers too, so I
Thank
agree.
you.
1R.
So,
Thank
Sydney
you.
Sweeney as Millie. Amanda Seyfried as Nina.
That's perfect.
Brandon Sklenar as Andrew.
Who?
I don't
have
know
no
who that
idea who that
is.
is.
Sorry,
And then-
Brandon.
I'll be on. Hold on, let me get on IMDb. Okay.
And then it's either Michelle Morone or Michele Morone as Enzo. He's Italian, which it fits. He came up when I was actually. That's how I found out it was already cast. I was looking for like Italian actors.
Well, that's funny.
I like it. Okay, hold on.
I agree with Amanda Seyfried as Nina. I think
That's
she'd be really good.
perfect.
I don't know about Sydney Sweeney. I haven't seen her in a lot.
I put Sydney
That's
Sweeney
Andrew.
as Hey Yo.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, fits the.
He's got a
fits the mold.
mustache, and I'm not into that. But I don't
That
think
he would
Andrew
have to. He'd have to shave that off for the character because I don't feel like. Oh, this one definitely works.
Enzo, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it too. I
Amanda
agree.
Seyfried is Nina. I like that.
I think that's perfect.
I don't know any of the other folks. I don't
Or
like
did
her
you go to the
face.
IMDb page?
Yeah,
I am.
I don't know who's playing that, but I don't like her face. There actually is not a big cast because there's not a big cast. They don't have Cecilia because I guess it's a child actor, so they don't have her cast.
like it's
but
CGI or at this point.
like a Megan doll, you
like
know, in the movie.
Renesmee.
like Renesmee.
So in terms of look, but she had Sydney Sweeney down.
Bam.
Good job.
Right there.
Who? Carrie Russell is who?
Carrie Russell as I think Carrie Russell should be Nina.
Okay.
I think she
Yeah,
would do so good.
she'd be good. Or you know who else? Amy Adams.
Ooh.
She'd be good.
Yeah, because she can
I-
play. She can play that full range.
So I had put Justin Baldoni as Enzo,
Mm-hmm.
which then made me think it'd be super funny to have Blake and Ryan, but we know that wouldn't happen.
Plot twist.
Yeah, I feel like Tyler Hoechlin.
Hecklin?
Is that how you say it?
Tyler Hecklin?
Yes,
Oh.
the guy that plays Superman.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
also-
yeah. Okay.
Although part of me would really love for them to do colorblind casting
Mhm.
and do like Zendaya as Millie and
Yeah, I
Gabrielle
thought of her too, actually.
and Gabrielle Union
Absolutely.
as Nina.
It was-
Yeah.
Gabrielle, yeah, she does good with thrillers and stuff too. She's
Yeah.
very good in those roles. Plus, I just like her.
They just need to be of the similar like look, like a younger version and an older version, because
Yeah.
it's very clear that Nina is replacing herself because that guy likes light blonde hair, and you have to be able to wear white.
Yeah.
And you
That may
know,
not work though, because Gabrielle Union may be older in terms of numbers, but she doesn't look older.
No, well, so the whole point was that Nina herself is actually not that much older.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
She's probably about the same age. Actually, she might be the same age as Millie because she was getting her PhD when she got pregnant with what's her face,
No, I think she's
Cecilia.
older than Millie.
but not by that much.
Maybe not. I don't know.
And
I
then,
thought at one point it said that Nina was older than Andrew, but maybe that was
he did say that. He
Yeah.
said that she was older.
so.
Hmm.
Well, we can't really trust him. So
I must say, yeah. What about Glenn Powell?
So Glenn Powell was going to be my Andrew.
I do like that. I will say though, I've never seen him play that kind of role. He always plays kind of goofy, funny,
guys.
really
Yeah.
good guys. Because
Well,
apparently he is in real life. So
I was trying to figure out who is the handsome guy that everyone likes right
that's
now.
true. That is, he would fit that role. Yeah.
But he can't be like too like weirdly handsome. Like
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet can't be Andrew.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's too old, isn't he?
He is, I
Do you
think.
think he would be good?
He would be spectacular,
Yeah.
but I think he's
10
too
years,
Yeah.
10, 12 years. When he was Denny.
Old. Oh my god, when he was Denny, yeah, you
Yeah.
betcha.
And Katherine Heigl could have played. Yeah.
Mhm.
But you know
But yeah, no.
She's toxic apparently. So. I don't know if she's toxic.
I thought she was
She redeemed. She redeemed
was
now. Yeah,
redeemed.
that's right. That's right.
All right.
I have no notes.
No notes. None whatsoever.
None...
I have notes.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
They're not. They were just stuff I wrote down as I
Plot
was
twists keep coming.
as I was
I
reading.
know. Oh, this was the perfect episode for me to do the intro and for you to have,
have
notes.
notes.
This one would be the name of the
I'm-
episode would be called Plot
The
Twist.
plot twist. Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a little selection. Okay, I've only read 70 pages, but it feels like things are escalating too quickly with too much book left.
True.
That's because there's too much foreshadowing at the end of each chapter. It makes that.
But
Yes.
how else are you gonna know that she's like?
We get it. We got it. We got it.
They don't know who I am.
I suspect the prologue POV is not Millie's, and I was right.
I
Thank
did
you.
not know that. Side note: I texted Angelique, and she said that, and I did the oh my god.
Janice.
Yeah.
The Janice.
So, I don't like the implication that Nina turned evil after gaining weight and having a baby, but I hoped I was just misreading that, and I was, apparently.
There you go. Yeah.
But for Andrew, it was evil because he's the worst.
Not this Andrew.
Not this Andrew. And
The book
honestly,
Andrew.
I still think Ben is worse than Andrew.
Yes.
Yes. Hate him so much. Both of
So
them.
much.
Because they tried to make him seem like he wasn't evil.
Yes.
That's why he's evil.
At least this guy was evil.
Pure evil. Yeah.
Okay. It becomes a little clearer that Millie is also a little unstable, but she really needs to stop messing up. And also this I've made an enemy of Nina Winchester stuff is getting real old. Cut your losses. Yes, you have no support network, but you also have very little tying you down.
That is so true.
Mhm. Especially if they're paying so well.
Yeah.
A couple paychecks, and she would have had enough to done something.
Like, what do you really have to lose at this point?
Right.
Okay. This one was like before the twist, for the Nina twist. At this point, I'm not reading this book to see what happens. I'm reading it to get it over with. I think this book would be a do not finish for me. I don't like the constant tension and the unlikable NC.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
Are you glad you finished it?
yeah,
now?
yeah,
Wow.
I didn't hate it.
Didn't
let's
hate
see,
it.
do I
That
need
is a
to-
ringing endorsement if I have ever heard one.
Okay.
It's up there with it's alright. Like it's alright. It's alright. Oh, Angelique liked it.
Millie doesn't really have much personality beyond annoyed, scared, and horny.
Oh my gosh.
But so true.
that is exactly right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which no wonder Andrew likes her.
Yeah.
That's all she is.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's a one point where Millie says "gone for good," and I'm like, "What an idiot!" I get your character can't be genre savvy in their own book, but come on, Nina threatened you. Nina threatened you, Millie, a woman who has shown signs of severe vindictiveness and previous homicidal instability. Gone for good, you utter laundry basket.
I love these plot twists in our podcast plot twist. Angelique is a savage.
Nina, it's his company that gave you bad maternity leave.
Oh
That was
my
good.
gosh.
That's good.
Phone books aren't that heavy anymore.
Okay, they really aren't.
No, they're not.
I didn't get that part as torture, but I
I should
guess
have used her PhD textbooks. That probably would have worked better.
I'm sorry. As a woman who's carried a human on my pelvis
Yeah,
for 9
she
months,
threw a phone book. Like, what's
I
that
can
matter?
handle a phone book for 3 hours. Come on.
Who still has a phone book? Like
I
at
don't
this
know.
point, like this.
It must have been an old one. Like they pulled out those yellow pages.
All right. Let's see. Last one. First half of the book did not enjoy, but the rest of the book put it into perspective and made it better, which I believe. Full
Agreed.
hop. All right.
Seriously, like I mean,
Mhm.
seriously, 1.5. It does like if the second half of the book's more like a 2.53. The first half of the book was
Yeah.
like a 1 for
Yeah.
me. So
I
that's where I get in that like
completely
1.752 range. Second half definitely was better. But you're right. The first half was so miserable
Yeah.
Mhm.
that it yes, the plot twist came and it made sense. But make it less give us those hints. Make it campier. Do something that
Mhm.
makes it not such a miserable of a read for the
Yeah.
first 150 something
Yeah.
pages, 200
Yeah.
pages of the book.
I agree. Because I feel like she was doing it and to help the second half of her book feel like, yes,
Right.
this is now we're cooking with oil.
Yeah.
And I think she
But
could-
if
she-
you
she could
don't
have
want
done
to
that.
finish it
Yeah. You're not
because
going to
it's
get
so
to that.
miserable in the first half, then you've gone too far one way.
I agree
yeah.
with you.
There were
I
I read the reviews. There were so many people who were like, could not finish. Didn't like Millie. It was just so hard to read. Why didn't she just leave? Kind of thing. And they never got to
Mhm.
the second half of the book to see that twist, and kind of disappointing. I think they should try again.
Yeah,
If you've tried to read this book and you didn't finish it, you should try to read it again.
I agree.
I agree.
especially if you like thrillers,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
suspense, whatever this genre is.
All right. Do we have any more thoughts we want to share?
I'm thoughtless.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. So, all going well, this episode will be posted before the end of March, which means I can promote the annual Friends of the Gaston County Public Library book sale.
Woo!
Beginning Monday, April 21st, and ending Saturday, April 26th, and being held at the main library branch on 1555 East Garrison Boulevard. The library's Friends organization will be selling donated books, DVDs, and more. Book sale proceeds are dedicated to providing equipment, furnishings, resources, and programming for our library patrons. So come to the book sale and support your library. For more information on book sale hours and becoming a member of the Friends of the Gaston County Public Library, please visit www.friendsofgcpl.org. I'll put that link in the episode description. That's it for this episode of We're Booked Up. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden is available in the library and on the Libby app. Let us know what you think of the book and what you think of what we think of the book. Just leave a comment at the Off the Shelf blog at gastonlibrary.blogspot.com or at gastonspeaks.podbean.com. Next month's book will be Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
guys.
Bye.